a picturesque region renowned for its world-class wines and stunning natural beauty. But there is even more to Sonoma. Nestled among its undulating hills sits the world-renowned Sonoma Raceway, which hosts the 5th round of the 2024 Ferrari Challenge season. The circuit, with its sweeping curves and vast elevation changes, offers a thrilling spectacle for drivers and fans alike. As the engines echo through the hills, anticipation builds for an electrifying Ferrari Challenge weekend, highlighting the capabilities of these awesome cars and the passion and determination of the drivers behind the wheel. Ferrari Challenge here at Sonoma Raceway, round 5 of our 2024 calendar with our Shell and Shell Am drivers out there on track. Absolutely fantastic for this race to come. It is, of course, the 5th round, as I mentioned, of our phenomenal 2024 calendar. We're here at Sonoma Raceway in California. Then we'll head off to Indianapolis, and then it will be to Imola for the Finale Mondiale to round out what has been an epic year of Ferrari challenges. The Ferrari Challenge 296 cars and drivers have taken to this series with aplomb this season. The situation of Sonoma Raceway is utterly beautiful as we look from our studio out at the rolling hills around. This track offers quite some challenge to our drivers, forgive the pun. 6 left-handers, 6 right-handers, and yeah, 1 or 2 turns are off camber as well, just to really add to the intricacies of this circuit for our Ferrari Challenge Shell and Shell Am drivers. Track temperature 35 degrees, the air temperature 25 degrees, and we've got 14 kilometers per hour of wind at the moment. And down there on the grid is Amanda Busick. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Dave. Yeah, still on such a high from that race that just ended here. You are talking about the weather a little bit. Some significant cloud coverage here in the afternoon, a bit windy as well, too. But as we move into this Coppa Shell race, we had some great storylines from qualifying, one being Ray Acosta on pole. We have Chuck Whittle right here that told me it was by only 7,000th of a second, as racing drivers remember every single number. Then you have Jeffrey Nunberg there starting in that Coppa Shell Am class. He was just beside himself on that moment. But we're going to get started here at Sonoma Raceway. So as the drivers they're ready for race number 1 here in Coppa Shell, drivers, start your Ferrari engines.
And on Amanda Busick's cue, they do exactly as they are told. Justin Bell alongside me, Shell and Shell Am. This is going to be a good race.
Yeah, it is. I think the scene has been set. We saw some fabulous driving in the last one, and here we have. I mean, qualifying was very sporty in this Shell and Shell Am, and the conditions were so tricky for any driver this morning that going into the race, as I said before, the confidence will be up. Your Pirelli tires will be working to their optimum. You should have every reason to be confident about what you're doing out there. And remember, your race is with the guys around you. It's not looking at 25 cars. It's looking only at the ones in your immediate vicinity. And that's something that is often lost when we watch races as a fan. You can go, oh my God, it's all chaos. But actually, when you're in the car, you only see the ones within your direct footprint. So therefore, it's a lot. You're able to focus. I would be very excited. In fact, I'm excited for them. I wish I was out there.
Ferrari Challenge Shell and Ferrari Challenge Shell Am. The race is about to get underway. And 2 probably surprise pole positions that came out of the very mixed qualifying. Ray Acosta for the Shell drivers, Jeff Nunberg for the Shell Am drivers. We will bring you the grid in full, of course, as the drivers are making their way out on their formation lap right now. Always a rolling start from the Ferrari Challenge then as the cars make their way uphill. Here it is, Ray Acosta, pole position alongside Chuck Whittle. Then on row 2, it's Jan Bernier and Robert McWilliams. They are P3 and P4. To row 3, where we find John Viscup and Bruce Cleveland, 2 potentially danger drivers from there, and certainly a danger from P7, Eric Marston, who's out of position from qualifying. Osvaldo Gallo is alongside him. Ben Godenzi and Lisa Clark go from P9 and to P10. Then we find Mike Luley and Mitchell Green. They are going from P11 and P12. So to our Shell Am drivers, Jeff Nunberg and Roger Monteforte, they go from row 7. Row 8 is Melissa Kozira. Great qualifying too from Jerry Walters alongside. Then it's David Williams and Gabe Harib. I was talking to Gabe just before making my way up to the studio with Helen Shue and Brian Waldersdorf behind them on row 10. It's Dana Goodwin and Steve Check, P21 and P22, with Paul Lynn and Neil Langberg going from P23 and P24. I remind you, the Shell drivers have the yellow strip across the top of the windscreen. The Shell Am drivers have a black strip across the top of the windscreen. That's how you can tell which driver is competing in which category, as we bring two together, maximizing the value of Ferrari Challenge with Shell and Shell Am drivers out there on track. Final stages of preparation then before the race gets underway. They're all behind the safety car. Eric Marston then, he's got some overtaking to do. He's out of position, P7. What say you, Amanda Busick?
Yeah, Dave, we'll start seeing these cars pack up as we get ready for the green flag here for race number 1. I was talking to Eric prior to this race. He ended up P7 in qualifying, but he said that's really not reflective of the performance that I have in my Ferrari. I was just caught up in traffic. He did talk about the struggles of overtaking at Sonoma Raceway, but said he felt thankful that he had a cushion in that points lead so far this season.
Yes, he'll be very thankful for that. I'm sure you're right then. So the safety car will peel off into the pit lane. It will be the responsibility of Ray Acosta and Chuck Whittle to control the pace of the rolling start then. And we'll throw two pictures at you so you can see the start from two different angles. So Ray Acosta for the collection, putting it on pole position. Chuck Whittle right alongside him. And for the Am drivers, it's Jeff Nunberg and Roger Monteforte. They go round the final turn then and head towards the start-finish line and await the green flag to be waved in earnest as we are ready to go racing then, Ferrari Challenge style. This is Coppa Shell and Coppa Shell Am. John Viscop trying to make a move very early on, and Ray Acosta doing a very good job at the start, maintaining his position ahead of Chuck Whittle as Ray Acosta and Chuck Whittle both lose grid. Now, Justin, you saw that better than me. What on earth happened there?
Well, I'd like to say I did, Dave. I was actually looking out the window. No, he's backing out. I think they just had a little touch going into the corner there, and it just sent them both off. That was very, very lucky to get away with that.
Well, that's played into the hands of Jan Bernier, Rob McWilliams and John Viscop then, who are P1, P2 and P3 in the Shell drivers. For the Shell Am drivers, it's Jeff Nunberg, Roger Monteforte and Melissa Kozira then, who are the 1, 2, 3. So we wait to see what the consequences of that off are going to be, and whether a big beneficiary, of course, is Eric Marston, who has been elevated 3 or 4 positions by dint of cars going off. So that's really played into the hands of Eric Marston. Then you can see, try and take just a little bit too much into the turn, and it's not going to pay off for you. That's exactly what happened to Helen Shue there. So Jeff Nunberg there involved in a fight with Lisa Clark. And Lisa Clark getting ahead of the Jeff Nunberg car. Now, of course, Lisa Clark running in Shell. Jeff Nunberg is a Shell Am driver. So we're about to control or put in the book the first lap as we get a full course yellow, which is perhaps what I expected, Justin.
Yeah. I mean, that was a fairy tale situation for Jan Bernier. I mean, that was what you don't wish it on anyone, but you kind of hope. And so, I mean, though, it's unfortunate the qualifying was so good for the other two, and now, you know, the race will be in their hands. But looks like there is some definite damage. Look on the left-hand side of that car. Very, very unfortunate.
Yeah, so we know we've lost Chuck Whittle. We know we've lost the Ray Acosta car. Although, has Ray managed to get that car going? I wouldn't have thought so with the impact that had, but time will tell. We'll pick up on that. So for the moment then, the Richard Mills safety car is out there leading these cars away on this full course yellow. Let's take a look at a replay here, Justin, and see if we can pick the bones out of what happened here.
Oh, very strange. We actually need 3 seconds before that, because it looked like he just departed to the right hand side going up there, carried too much speed around the outside and went straight on. Really, really tricky to say. We only saw the aftermath. I think it looked like something happened
prior to that.
Mm. Yeah. That's because they went off with some speed, I'll tell you that. And that is also bearing in mind you've got the incline there. So if anything, the cars are naturally slowing down, but that was a really unfortunate. It is very easy to touch going up in there.
And of course, the other thing that we should consider is the fact that the qualifying session was in the rain, and probably there is still some dampness in the grassed area. So once you get on that, you're a passenger, aren't you? And your speed almost increases, Justin.
Yeah, the downforce on a 296 isn't that great on grass. They're not lawnmowers. So yeah, that's truly unfortunate. It should be a very quick clean-up. I'm absolutely no harm, no foul for the drivers, and there's no risk to them. But just very unfortunate, because I was excited to see how Ray Acosta's race was going to unfold. But now we have a new threesome at the top, who are a trio that are going to be leading the way. Interesting to see, because there are some people out of position from qualifying, because qualifying was such an anomaly in the drying, wet, dry conditions. So we're going to have another little look at this, see if we can pick it up just a couple of seconds earlier. Okay. Oh, he was wide coming in. Oh, he clipped the apex. He actually, that was...
And I think Chuck was almost responding to that.
It was a response.
Yes.
He did not need to come off. He will rue his thing there, and there was a bit of dirt thrown in front of him. He got unsighted, and that cost him not just the race. It cost him the corner, cost him the race. So no actual contact.
No.
But he did. Ray clipped the inside going up the hill.
And that was enough to unsettle the car.
But there's really no curb there, so he pinched it rather than clipped a curb. Very, very unfortunate for them both.
Well, a great shame for Ray Acosta, who's done a brilliant qualifying, hadn't he? And Chuck Whittle, just in reacting to that, found himself something of a passenger heading towards the barriers. Big impact, but both drivers perfectly okay. So, as you mentioned, we now have Jan Bernier, Rob McWilliams and John Viska at the top three, and Eric Marston, who will be, has took real advantage of that and finds himself P4 already. Now, for the AM drivers, it's Jeff Nunberg ahead of Jerry Walters and Melissa Kazira. So Jerry Walters got ahead of Melissa Kazira in the first few meters that we ran of that race. There is the leader in the AM category. That is Jeff Nunberg. He, of course, put it in on pole position, and yes, did a very, very good job indeed in qualifying. He was super, super happy about that. So the order is Jan Bernier, Rob McWilliams, John Viscup, Eric Marston for the Shell drivers. For the Shell AMs, it's Jeff Nunberg, Jerry Walters, Melissa Kazira, and David Williams. They are the top four. So recovery operation underway, and we'll get those cars recovered and get back to racing just as quickly as we can. So for the moment then, the drivers have to reset themselves and calm down, and they're just going to be taken round the track by the safety car until this full course yellow is lifted. The Ferrari of Central New Jersey driver there, Jeff Nunberg, and Jerry Walters, who just in off-air, you and I were talking, and Jerry Walters has impressed us both with you watching the series and me talking about it. Jerry Walters, Bubbles as she's known in that 171 car, has really, really come good this year. A couple of richly deserved podiums. The winners eluded, but it's not far away, I feel sure.
I can see that, and I've got to say that hats off to the whole Ferrari Challenge, the Trofeo world, in the fact that they are the fact that there's proportionally more women racing in this than any other series I can think of.
Yep.
And I was talking with Amanda at lunchtime, and she said, well, actually in Europe it's even more.
Yes.
There's even more top girls out there, and of course we've seen them go on to race for Iron Dames and these top outfits that are giving the girls an opportunity to race out there. And I'm such a big believer. This is actually now an equal opportunity sport. Physiologically wise, there's no reason, and talent wise, that girls should not reach the top of our sport. And it's a trickle effect. Every time you see someone out there that you can identify with, you think as a young girl, that could be me. So I really do. I'm a big fan, and these girls are running so fast. I mean, 2 out of the top 3. It's in Shell-Am. I think it's really, really good.
I completely agree with you, and it is really, really nice to see. So, full course yellow then, and cars being brought into the pit lane here, Justin.
Interesting. Well, I guess they were not confident in the work on the outside. That's an interesting call.
Now, Chuck Whittle is out of the car. You can see him to the left-hand side of your screen. He's absolutely fine. And just want to make that clear. The integral safety of these 296 Challenge cars is unparalleled. And Chuck Whittle out of the car, all absolutely fine. I remind you, we've lost Chuck Whittle and Ray Acosta as the cars line up then in the pit lane. We're under this full course yellow. The clock has actually been stopped now, Justin. It was counting down, which is normally the case during a full course yellow. The clock has been stopped now as we look at the 115 car there.
That's more. It's interesting. The clock stopped is normally the prerogative of a red flag, not a full course yellow. But this is Ferrari world. We can do what we want here. And, you know, they're making the right call. There's a car either side of the track up there.
Yes.
They have safety crews. It's all about the safety of the safety crews. And but I imagine, Amanda, down there, the drivers, they just got all hot and sweaty. And I know it's pretty humid out there. But you can see their coaches crossing the track. Are they allowed much communication?
For sure, and that's actually, you think about the chaos in motorsports, the teams jumped into action here too as they saw the Ferraris come here to pit lane. We are under stopped conditions. The time has stopped as well as we clear up that accident. I was told by officials that one team member can go over to these Ferraris. I'm looking at Robert McWilliams' car right now, and his team member is blowing cool air on him right now. So you talk about the heat of that the drivers are experiencing inside of this cockpit. But I want to go back to the start of that race, Dave. You were talking about Ray Acosta and being on that pole. You talk about Chuck Whittle right behind him. Justin, you had a conversation in the last race of how drivers can react to the reaction. As we get ready for now a restart in these conditions, how do drivers calm themselves down for more racing?
Well, you know, in top flight pro racing, you're kind of left to your own. But even you hear some of the best drivers in the world coached through it by their engineer. Just, you know, keep your focus on, reset the clock. I think for Jan Bernier at the front there, I mean, you're right next to his car. You can tell that he now has a new opportunity. He was going to be a third place contender going into this. Now he has the chance to dominate this race from the beginning. And Amanda, I imagine that is a recalibration for everybody in the top three, which is now the new top three. So it'll be interesting to see how they're feeling. As I see you looking into the car there, he has how's he doing down there? I mean, he's leading the field.
I mean, what a good position to be in, right? You kind of get the victor of the spoil of what happened at the start of that race. I am hearing that we might have a bit of a repair going on track, so might as well talk to some of our Ferrari drivers and getting in here, seeing Jan, well, you were gifted at the top of this restart. When you think of racing at Sonoma, what goes through your mind when you approach the elevation that is turn one?
Well, I mean, you got to let the hill slow the car down, but on the cold tires, it's going to be kind of interesting to see what happens. It's not really a great spot to make a pass, so I think we'll get through it cleanly this time. People probably learned their lesson on that start.
If my memory serves me right, I believe you were right behind Ray Acosta on the start of the race. What was your perspective of what happened in front of you?
I mean, he got a good start, but I think he pushed it a little too hard up there, and he couldn't get the car to turn down onto the left, so he kind of missed the apex at the top, slid across. I think Chuck got collected a little bit, and it didn't see exactly. There was a lot of dirt flying at that point, but I knew that one went one way and the other went the other way, and I sort of saw a little opening and went through it.
Good luck today.
Thank you.
So, JB, as the driver will settle in for more racing here today, you got to go back to what is racing at Sonoma. You do have that turn one elevation. There can be the blind corners. Is there the best way to approach that from your perspective?
Well, generally, it's a bit of a godsend because you're braking uphill, so it allows these incredibly aggressive side-by-side moves. Get a little bit intimate as you turn into the right-hander, and that's where you often have a lot of contact. These guys have actually avoided that so far in the race prior to this. But, I mean, right now, making the opportunity, taking advantage, making your move stick, paid off in the first race. He went on to win, McCarthy went on to win overall, only because he overtook there. So the stakes are pretty high. And seeing the way the even pace of these drivers, it's very hard to gap your opposition here. So you're always going to be a close contender. It makes overtaking very, very tough.
Well, how can you get the best out of this Sonoma Raceway? We challenged Matias Perez Compang to give us his view of this racing circuit, and here it is.
Hey everyone, I'm Matias Perez Compang, the driver of the number 50 car of AF Corse on the 286 Challenge, and I'm gonna take you on a lap around Sonoma Raceway.
So coming across the start-finish line in Sonoma, we arrived in the first corner flat out in 6th gear, brake slightly, downshift to 4th for the second corner, accelerate onto 4th gear, use all the track on the right, brake, and get a good exit out of turn 3. Onto turn 4 we brake just late, use all the track on the left. This kink we lift a little bit, we arrived into 5th gear on the carousel, downshift to 4th, and just use the throttle to control the front of the car, biting it, and we accelerate on this straight. Here is a hard braking zone, we downshift 2 gears, accelerate on this straight, and touch the curve on the inside. Coming to the S's, we go flat out on the first 2, brake slightly to turn the car, and just here a lift also to help turn the car. Here we are flat out again. We brake slightly again to turn the car on 5th gear, and back on power early. And for the last corner, it's a hard braking one. We turn in late to get a good exit out of it, and to finish the lap good. And that's a lap around Sonoma Raceway.
Thank you to Matias Perez Compang then for taking us for a high-speed lap around the Sonoma Raceway. Talking of high speed, none better than Eric Marston. He was able to take the advantage of others' misfortunes, and he's up to P4, and I think Amanda's with him now.
And Dave, just a little bit of update. I am hearing maybe less than 5 minutes till we're back to action here at Sonoma Raceway. And Eric Marston just told me off camera, I can taste a podium. How does that change the mindset of a driver?
Definitely changes it when it's right in front of you. You know, you just want to push as hard as you can, push as hard as you can. So, yeah.
Getting that podium that will take getting around one of these Ferraris. What are the opportunities here at Sonoma for that?
The best opportunity is really 7 and 11.
Guys, I got to pop out. Good luck, Eric.
So Eric tells us then it's turn 7 and 11, Justin. That's where he's going to be trying his luck.
Yeah, so is everyone else.
Of course,
so,
yes.
So you're not alone. That's the thing. This is the wonderful journey that a lot of these every one of these guys and girls has been through. You know, you do track days. You do fun, organized track days. You take your road car, and then it's wonderful. You're learning your lines. You're exploring your skill set. You're developing your talents. And then you go on a racetrack where everyone around you is trying to stop you braking where you want to, stop you turning where you want to. I mean, suddenly your line isn't there. So the optimum driving conditions disappear really quickly when it comes to racing. And so for a lot of these guys and girls, when they're embarking on their racing journey,
yes,
you can't be too idealistic about it, because you can't drive a lap in a race that often the way that you would if you were testing on your own. So that is the wonderful, in my way, the fluidity of motorsport, is that A, B, and C doesn't always equal D when it comes to a race. And as we just saw, D just happened twice going into the first corner. So that's what I love about it. And every single race driver that's ever started a race believes that they can win.
Motor racing is beautiful. For some drivers, it can be brutal as well. And yes, that's the reason we love the Ferrari Challenge, because it is such thrilling racing. Jan Bernier, Rob McWilliams, and John Viscop are P1, 2, and 3 in the Shell drivers as we pass the scene of just one of the barrier impacts. For our Shell Am drivers, it's Jeff Nunberg ahead of Jerry Walters and Melissa Kozira. Two ladies then running P2 and P3, richly deserved. And you were extolling the virtues of how ladies make their way in the Ferrari Challenge and go on to even greater things. Have a number of those that have done that, including the likes of Dorianne Ben and Michelle Gatting, and yeah, just a couple that I can mention. And Jan Bernier then for Ferrari of Seattle. As we look at the Neil Langberg car then, with the Race for RP logo on the side of that number 153 car. A mix of Shell and Shell Am drivers then behind the safety car right now. Jan Bernier and Robert McWilliams. I was talking to Rob, who, again, Racing Evolution. Rob's son is racing in the Club Challenge at the moment, and I was talking about the beautiful art on Rob's car, and he said that was always very much part of the plan, and it continues to be so, you know. Beautiful car, and it's in P2 at the moment. So Jan Bernier, Rob McWilliams, John Viscop, the 1, 2, 3, and the Am drivers, Jeff Nunberg, Jerry Walters, Melissa Kozira. So the Richard Mills safety car then leading the cars away, and we're going to go back to race action. The clock is already counting down. We've got going to have less than 20 minutes. It's not going to be quite a dash for cash, as I sometimes say, Justin, but the time has elapsed.
They're also, the tyres will have cooled down from their optimal working range in that relatively lengthy stop. They only had one circulation lap before they take the green now. Their coaches will be telling them, remember, the tyres may have gone off full grip. They often start with slightly lower tyre pressures to be able to put them in the performance range once the race gets underway. So here they go. Remember, no need to, it's single file now coming across. It is positions as they take the green, Dave.
Yes, Jan Bernier then crosses the line, and he is our race leader ahead of Rob McWilliams and John Viscop, and then Eric Marston, who's already told us where he's going to try his overtakes on John Viscop. Well, he's got to get a bit closer, if I'm honest with you, as John Viscop lights up the wick on the back of the Robert McWilliams car. Jan Bernier leading, and those three have broken away a bit from Eric Marston, who in turn has broken away a bit from Osvaldo Gallo and Bruce Cleveland, and Ben Gudenzi behind. Jeff Nunberg continuing to hold his own in the Ferrari Challenge. Coppa, Shell, Am ahead of Jerry Walters, Melissa Kozira, who had an awesome qualifying session earlier on today. There you can see the artful car that I was talking about just a few moments ago of Rob McWilliams, who's got John Viscop very much for company. So this is a bit of a fight that's going on for P2 in Ferrari Challenge Coppa Shell here. Two really supreme drivers who are vying for a further step up in the podium positions, potentially, although John Viscop has picked up a 15-second time penalty, as I and you can see from the graphics on the left-hand side of your screen. So Eric Marston actually hasn't got to worry too much now about overtaking John Viscop.
He'll still want to do it on the road, but I reckon when he went wide and missed his apex as though he was in the next state, that was when I bet he just got told on the radio he had a 15-second penalty, and he took his mind off it because he went off into the weeds up there. But yeah, I mean, you've just got to ignore the penalty now and just drive your race and enjoy it. But certainly for Eric Marston, it gives him motivation, I'm sure, to move up.
Well, the only way that John Viscop could nullify that is to be 15 seconds ahead of Eric Marston. That's going to be a tall order, I would suggest.
Yeah, unless your last name's Verstappen, it doesn't happen too often, does it? So, yeah, but this is going to really interesting dynamics to this race, actually. Ooh, okay, very sporty at the top of the hill. Very much so, as
Bruce Cleveland, Osvaldo Gallo, and of course then trying to join the action as well as Jeff Nunberg, who is leading in the Ferrari Challenge Coppa Shell Am. So there you can see Jeff Nunberg just on the back of this trio of cars. That trio of cars, Osvaldo Gallo, Bruce Cleveland and Ben Gudenzi. They're running P5, 6 and 7 in Ferrari Challenge Coppa Shell at the moment. And Jeff Nunberg, of course, has got the cushion of two out-of-class cars between himself and Jerry Walters and Melissa Kozira. He's in a very good position. So Bruce Cleveland then in the 158 car for Ferrari of Silicon Valley. Looking good here. Is he going to go for a move on the inside? The gap wasn't quite 296 wide enough, was it?
No, it is. He's giving it a shot here too. A little wheel off the ground. He's going to make himself. He won't be able to do that for too many laps. Let's put it like that. But I don't blame him for giving it a shot.
So, well, he had a valiant effort, but he wasn't quite able to make the move. And of course, you always make yourself a bit vulnerable to those that are behind you as well. So that's worth bearing in mind. You don't want to put yourself into a position of vulnerability and lose out a place in trying to take another place as Bruce Cleveland dives to the inside now. Well, good racing room was given there, to be fair. And,
2 positions lost.
Yes.
Yay.
So, up the road goes Bruce Cleveland now. And Ben Gudenzi, as you say, taking advantage of that as well. Osvaldo Gallo losing out 2 places in one move there, and right now he's got Jeff Nunberg, who's right up his trumpet. But Jeff Nunberg, of course, is the Shell Am driver, so from a class position point of view it's academic, but Jeffrey Nunberg wants to maintain that cushion that he has, as many Shell cars as he can between himself and the pursuers of Jerry Walters and Melissa Kazira, who are running P2 and P3 in the Shell Am class. Meantime, Jan Bernier is really stretching his legs, 1.13 seconds ahead of Rob McWilliams P2. Then it is John Visca, then it is Eric Marston, but Jordan Visca has got the Damoclesian sword hanging over him of a 15-second time penalty, which of course elevates cars that are behind him when it comes to the official result. So 14 minutes remaining of this Ferrari Challenge Coppa Shell race. The mix of Shell and Shell Am drivers is also trying to make moves here is Roger Monteforte. Now the car ahead of him is Mitchell Green, and Mitchell Green is Shell driver. Roger Monteforte wants to get on terms, if he can, with Melissa Kazira and at least try and fulfill a podium out of this race. So to do, he's got to get past that car that is ahead of him. And Roger Monteforte then, who, as I was saying during our qualifying program earlier on today, who's had a really, really good season. There's Jerry Walters.
Yes. I mean, she's going to want, she can't get close to a win in this race and break her, winless streak unless she can get those 2 cars cleared in front. And by virtue of the grid, that'll be very hard for her to do. That's hard to do. They're slightly insulated, but as you say, if Monteforte gets by Green, then we have a bit more of trouble on their hands.
Yes, and knowing Roger, he'll be very, very keen to do that. I think he stands probably a better chance of getting by Mitchell Green than necessarily Jerry Walters does, getting by both Mike Luley and Lisa Clark. It's double the work. double the. Very, very interesting. I mean, out the front, fastest lap 136.2 for Jan Bernier. I mean, he's got the hammer down. And Jeff Nunberg then also getting by Osvaldo Gallo right now, and next in the target sights, Lisa Clark has Osvaldo Gallo now in the target sights, and Mike Luley right behind Lisa Clark as well. Lisa, who I remind you, Coppa Shell Am champion last year, a fine racing driver, and is currently running P9 in Coppa Shell, elevated to Coppa Shell this year by dint of her success in Shell Am last year, and running into the final turn right now, just taking a look at the inside, but not close enough to be able to do anything there. So,
in the, 11, just under 12 minutes to go. We saw this in the last race. This is the time to start making your move. Probably the optimal tire conditions, even though we had that stoppage.
Yes.
Right now, your tires haven't gone off too much. You're feeling good. You're able to keep focusing, and you're just looking for opportunity.
Critically, Roger Monteforte has got by. So Roger Monteforte will be on the back of Melissa Kazira very, very quickly, I would suggest, as he tries to wrestle a podium out of this race. There you can see the all-pink car of Jerry Walters. There's Melissa Kazira, and right now here is Roger Monteforte. who now will try and set a series of, dare I say it, quali laps to try and narrow that gap between himself and Melissa Kazira, who of course is running in P3. So Roger Monteforte doing everything he can. And there you can see a little bit of damage on the Roger Monteforte car for Ferrari of Central New Jersey. And there he's already making inroads, I would suggest, as he's getting closer to Melissa Kazira. That's actually probably from that camera angle.
Yeah, he certainly won't be having overheating issues on his right front brake caliper. You know, it's a little hole in the front there, but yeah, he's also going to pick up the back of the train. He's in a better position to do that because we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars in front of him that are nicely gapping each other, but he should definitely reach that in the next 2, 3 laps. But you see this, I mean, there's a lot to play for here. I mean, that's Nunberg right in the middle of all that. He's right at the front there. I mean, well, they're running very, very clean races, and yes, our leader in AM is just on the fastest lap, so the pace is very intense.
Jeff Nunberg is doing a brilliant job in this race. Not only has he set the fastest lap, as you say, he's got the cushion or insulation of 3 Shell cars right behind him as well, really protecting his position in P1. And there is the Ferrari of Central New Jersey driver, Jeffrey Nunberg, then. Qualified really, really well today. Was thrilled about that qualifying. His first pole position. I find that really hard to believe, and I had to go through the record books. It was him that told me that, you know. I feel sure that Jeff had been P1 before now, but clearly not. Well, not only was he P1 in qualifying, but in the race right now he is P1, and P1 by a measure, Justin.
Yeah, he has to lock in his race pace, no risks. Because the reward is there for him, can't slow down. I mean, he certainly can't give up track time to the guys behind, but he is comfortably set over the next 6 or 7 laps to the finish. But that can't be said for everyone else in the field, because behind him it is all very sporty.
So Jeffrey Nunberg then running P1 at the moment. I know, Amanda, you have a view on Jeff's success as well.
For sure, yeah, he's already seen the podium twice this season, once at Laguna Seca and at the Circuit of the Americas. You think about adding a cherry on top of what would be that pole. That is his first win on the season at a day that's been so memorable for him. We did that interview where he was kind of shocked by the results of finding the first pole of his career, and he came to me after that interview. He said, wow, this is finally starting to set in.
Oh,
finished it off with...
Forgive me interrupting, but one of those cars off, I believe was Bruce Cleveland. I might be wrong, but I could see a couple of cars off there, and we'll take a look at that again in just a moment. Forgive me for interrupting you, Amanda. Just saw that from the corner of our eyes. And there you can see Melissa Kazira has got Roger Monteforte right on the back of that car right now, as we expected. That gap has come down significantly. And now Melissa Kazira is going to have to go into real defensive mode against Roger Monteforte.
Full course yellow, Dave. We knew that she was not going to have to defend for too long, because I knew they had to pull. Oh, has he got the memo? Full course yellow. Do not overtake on the braking. He just got it right there. The 2 cars that are off, we'll look at the replay in a minute and give you an update. They were considerably far from the asphalt, the racing asphalt, so they must have touched going through there. Very demanding sequence of corners. Full course yellow with 1 lap to go. They're calling yellow because they've already had a delay in the race, so we're in the window to finish this race.
Well,
there's winners and losers every time a race is timed out, and other than for me, Monteforte, I believe, would have probably got 3rd place.
I agree.
I don't think too many of the other positions would have changed over the next 6 minutes. So, a tough decision for race control, but obviously the right one to do.
Okay, well, the reason for the full course yellow, as I say, I only caught it from the corner of my eye. And I'm just looking at our timing screen now to see who, I think it was Bruce Cleveland and Ben Gadenzi, but I can't be sure of that. And I hate saying things until I absolutely know, but that's what I thought from the initial picture that I saw. So full course yellow and final lap then, as the cars will finish this race behind the safety car. Jan Bernier, who had built up a terrific lead, hadn't he?
Absolutely.
And I think, I mean, we're aware of the fact that John Viscop has got that time penalty to be added. Well, that does for him in terms of results. It's going to be Jan Bernier, Rob McWilliams and Eric Marston, the 1, 2, 3. There's no question about that.
And unfortunately, under a full course yellow situation, it bunches
worse,
up.
yeah.
15 seconds is going to take him to the back of his class, pretty much. So, tough call there. We still don't know what that penalty was for. We'll try and bring that to you when we hear a bit later.
Well, both drivers are out of the car and they're both absolutely okay, which is the best news indeed, and really, really good to see. So, yes, quite some damage to those tyre barriers, I would
Very
suggest.
much so. That was a high-speed crash, as you say. Both drivers are out, which is the great news. Unfortunately, a lot of work for the teams overnight to get their cars back for tomorrow's racing. Hopefully that can be achieved. They should have scrubbed off a bit of speed on their trajectory across the grass, but not sure that they actually did.
Justin, let's take a look at this in replay and see if we can ascertain what happened here.
Side by side, coming across about, pulled. Oh, okay. That was a very high-speed crash. What actually happened there, guys, was, you know, as he pulled across to the right and cut off the nose of the car, and it's almost like they got locked together at that point. That was. I said that hopefully they slowed down across the grass. They did not slow down across the grass. They were pointing forwards.
Yeah, I agree. Thanks for getting us that replay in there so that we could see that. But both drivers are all perfectly they're perfectly okay. Now, it was Ben Gadenzi. I thought it was. I knew it was the Bruce Cleveland car, and it was Ben Gadenzi. But the most important thing, both drivers out, as we're going to get the checkered flag right, as Jan Bernier then.
A well-deserved win, actually. He drove very well. I know he inherited the new pole position, but he did actually drive very well.
I did see the final lap flag, did I not?
We saw a white flag being held up out there, yes. They're still counting down then. Okay, well, that was an interesting one.
So we are still behind the safety car. So effectively, formally, the race is still on.
Formally, the race is still on.
But we are behind.
But this will finish under yellow. So,
yeah.
But let's talk about what they did at the top there. I mean, Jan Bernier, it's a different mind shift. You're third going up into the first corner.
Yes.
And the next time you see it, you're in the lead.
Yes.
And you have a reset from the start, and actually he drove like a pro and controlled the race very, very nicely.
What a weekend start it's been for Jerry Walters and Melissa Kozira.
Yeah.
Both did really, really well
Yeah.
in qualifying. We were both suitably impressed, and now they take P2 and P3 in the Ferrari Challenge Shell Am race. That is assuming we don't go back to racing, which I can assure you we're not going to.
Yep.
So well done to there's Jerry Walters then, who got the better of Melissa Kozira right at the start of the race. Melissa Kozira, though, taking a well-deserved P3, and there Roger Monteforte, who I think have to be, he'll probably be quite frustrated.
Oh, frustrated, yeah. He's going to be feeling this one tonight, because he actually knows he had a fast car, even though he's got that damage on the front right-hand side. He picked up the pace, you know, in a glorious fashion, and caught the back of the train in front of him, and he was positioning himself for an overtake there on Melissa, but it never happened. So that is racing. It is a case of what if sometimes.
Absolutely, and you have to be prepared to take that, don't you? Because yeah, on occasions it'll run for you, on occasions it will not run for you, and on this occasion Roger Monteforte not getting the rub of the green, I think is the word. So the cars, I am led to believe, are going to be still behind the safety car right now with 1 minute remaining.
white flag will be out this time. I can see it in the flag stand's hands, and now it is actually flying. That signals the last lap of the race, albeit under the pace car. So no surprises, unfortunately. No, when I say that, no changes are going to be made now. And at this point of the race, either you're going, thank goodness for that, I made that move, or like Monteforti, you're like, God, give me one more lap and I would have been able to pull it off. Yeah. Very disappointing for Cleveland and Gazzetti to go off and have the wreck that they had.
Indeed so.
And I imagine some discussion will be had, because it was a chop the nose off deal, and that was rather unpleasant.
We were waxing lyrical about Jerry Walters having done very well, also having done very well Melissa Kozira, and I know, Amanda, you have a view on that.
Yeah, guys, I really enjoyed the conversation that you and Justin were having earlier about the women that are racing in this paddock. And of the 4 women that raced here today, you have a former champion and Lisa Clark racing. As you mentioned, Jerry Walters will be on the podium, but also on the podium shared with Jerry, finishing third, as Melissa Kozira has. You said that this is just her second round racing in Ferrari Challenge. She made her debut back in Watkins Glen, and Justin, I know you and I were able to catch up with her earlier in hospitality. We were talking to her and her husband Bill, and she's come into Challenge Series having gone through the ranks of what the Ferrari system offers. She did the Corsa Pilota last year, actually has raced at Sonoma in Challenge Series. And Justin, I'll let you expand on this story, but last year she was running lap times around this place at 1 minute and 56 seconds and qualified with a 1 minute and 36 second lap here this weekend in practice. So the idea that she also gets to step on a podium, what a difference a year makes, and what a moment it will be for her and her husband Bill.
Yeah, it really was a lovely conversation. And just to pick up on that, I mean, 20 seconds improvement in her lap time. Here she is. She's run so well around here today. And a podium here at one of literally the world's toughest racetracks, I imagine will give them a cause for celebration tonight as the cars make their way at slow speed to the checkered flag.
So it's going to be Jan Bernier that takes the win in Coppa Shell ahead of Rob McWilliams. Then it will be Eric Marston that will be P3, because John Visca vaults down the order by dint of that time penalty. So Osvaldo Gallo P4, Lisa Clark P5, Mike Luley P6, and John Visca in class will be P7. Jan Bernier delighted with his win, richly deserved, I have to say. And well done to Jan Bernier. Well done too to Jeff Nunberg taking the checkered flag in the Ferrari Challenge Coppa Shell AM race. Brilliant stuff indeed. So, yeah, fairly dramatic race. And just to, as we watch Jeffrey Nunberg then, the winner of our Coppa Shell AM race, you know, the system that Ferrari has in place with regards to the Corsa Pilota, and then, you know, the opportunity to drive in Club Challenge where you're not up against, you're not in a race environment, but you're up against the clock trying to improve. And, you know, the system works so well. And we've seen so many drivers come through the ranks and end up in racing in the Ferrari Challenge, of which this race, Coppa Shell and Coppa Shell AM, we're going to see the results of right now. Jan Bernier, of course, for Ferrari of Seattle, taking victory in Shell ahead of Robert McWilliams and Derek Marston. Jeff Nunberg, the best of the AM drivers, he finishes P4 in the race overall ahead of Osvaldo Gallo, Lisa Clark, Mike Luley. Jerry Walters, P2 in Shell AM. And P3 in Shell AM, it is Melissa Kozira ahead of Roger Monteforte, Brian Waltersdorf, Gabe Harib, David Williams, John Visca launched way down the order by dint of his time penalty. Then it was Paul Lynn ahead of Steve Check, Dana Goodwin, Neil Langberg, Helen Shue, Bruce Cleveland, Ben Gadenzi and Mitchell Green, regrettably, along with Ray Acosta and Chuck Whittle, finding themselves off the tarmac and out of the race, regrettably.
When you look at it like that, that was an action-packed race, right off the top. Just shows the demands of racing on this track. And, you know, it's a reminder to everybody, especially people watching at home, armchair enthusiasts. We all sit there going, well, I wouldn't have done that. I couldn't have made that mistake. This is a very demanding track. And, You know, we live in a world where we are so conditioned by sim racing that you have to remember, and I talk to a lot of young drivers about this, there is no reset button when you get in a real race car, and these are real, legitimate race cars.
Oh, for sure.
And going up into turn one there, carrying fourth gear, maybe fifth gear as they go through there in this 296 beautiful car, all that engineering, all the lessons learned from Formula One in this car, and you're on the edge of grip, and sometimes it doesn't go your way. So a very, very well deserved win in both classes, and I'm sure a lot of celebrating when Amanda gets in there. Should be some enthusiasm displayed.
So Jan Bernier then makes his way out of the car. And there, Daniel Mancinelli, driver coach, one of the first to go and congratulate. Roberta Perina in there as well, all offering congratulations. Now, you were talking earlier on, Justin, about the driver coaches. Daniel Mancinelli, of course, a fine racing driver in his own right. And you know, the relationship he has as, well, there you can see Massimo Perina's father offering his congratulations. Louis Colmash, head of motorsports here in Ferrari North America as well, offering his congratulations to Jan Bernier. My little claim to fame here, I sat on a bus with Jan Bernier going to the drivers' parade at Le Mans. There you go.
Wow, I can't beat that.
Right, Amanda is in there right away to talk to Jan Bernier.
I may have him just repeat the motion that he made, lifting his hands to the sky and said, fantastic. And Jan, you back up that win at COTA with a second win this season right here at Sonoma. And I want to go back to the start of the race. Where did you position yourself to get through? What was that start?
You know, I just saw that the racing line was clean and that the guys were kind of going to look like they were going to drop a wheel at least. And I knew if I stayed on it, I was going to get a shot out of two at least. And it turned out I got lucky and they got really unlucky. I hope those guys are okay and their cars get fixed for tomorrow.
You said the word fantastic. Why?
Well, I've got my special friend Troy here, and this is really in memory of his son who passed away unexpectedly. And my whole team's running a sticker for Jack Niehaus, and so like we've been trying to make it happen and get on the podium for him. So I'm just like super emotionally like ready, and thank you to my family for letting me come racing.
Congratulations.
Isn't that wonderful to see that? And this reinforces what I said about how beautiful motor racing can be, Justin.
Yeah. You know, there's so many reasons we go racing all the way up and down the grid for ourselves, for other people. Racing is pretty much a selfish sport. We just want to win, and that's what we do. Isn't it nice, whether it's a charity, whether it's a cause, whether it's a foundation, or in memory of someone? So that's really nice. It makes it extra special, and you can never guarantee a win, but if you're going to pull one out, this is the day to do it.
Right. Jeffrey Nunberg certainly pulled it out with regards to the AM drivers. He's first pole position, and he's a race winner, Amanda.
You're right. He took advantage of that pole and stuck it here for the win. And he said that this was waiting for him after the race. So I didn't know that Butterfinger was such a motivator. But here we are for Jeffrey Nunberg, his last win at Mugello in the rain last year. But Jeffrey, I know how special that pole for you was already to get the top step of the podium. When you guys look at the effort that you put in that goes into these race weekends, how validating is this one?
This is so awesome. I can't tell you. We worked so hard to do this. My whole team, all my crew here, everybody, my teammates, my coach, my wife puts up with all this BS from me. You know, I live and eat this all day long, so this is just amazing. You
told me earlier that driving in the rain in Miami helped this one get on pole. So a lucky break being from Miami today.
It was pretty good. It was pretty good, but the drive wasn't too bad for me today. So 5th overall, first in class. It was good. It was a great race.
Jeffrey Nunberg will spray that champagne from the top step, guys.
Tony Davis in there and Cyril Choksi as well to offer their congratulations to Jeff Nunberg. Well done, Jeff. Brilliant to see. Yeah, those celebrations are always a delight. Absolutely wonderful stuff. Let's take a look at the Drivers' Championship points right now. For Shell drivers, your teeth in, Dave, 34-point margin for Eric Marston. Jan Bernier moving up a place now. Robert McWilliams moving up a place, and Chuck Whittle dropping down 2 to P4. Then it's Bruce Cleveland, John Viscup, and Lisa Clark and Osvaldo Gallo occupying the top 8 positions ahead of Mitchell Green, Ray Acosta, Mike Luley, and Ben Godenzi. That's the way the Shell Drivers' Championship looks. And of course, we will take a look at the Shell Am Drivers' Championship also in due course. There it is. Roger Monteforte still leading with a 35-point margin over Steve Check. Then it's Brian Waltersdorf, Jerry Walters, Dana Goodwin, Jeff Nunberg moving up a place ahead of Roy Carroll, missing this weekend. Then it's Gabe Rib ahead of Paul Lynn, Helen Shue, David Williams, Darren Bernstein, Al Heggie, Melissa Kozira, Neil Langberg, and they're ahead of Talal Shayer and Bernard Gomez. That's the way the Drivers' Championship looks for Ferrari Challenge Shell Am. Still a race to come today, you know. But for Coppa Shell and Coppa Shell Am drivers, their day is done and dusted. Thank you for watching. From Justin, from Amanda and myself. Bye-bye for now.